Actually, there had been a lot of invites all the way from Baguio, from
Oh,
other networks, and from other countries.
oh.
Ang Prima Galaw lang what I said
Yes!
yes. For some reason, as you know, I'm trying to be quiet. Where are you?
Sa office.
Okay. What
Eh,
about
because
Nico?
I'm at home.
sa house, kay
I had
lockdown na sila actually subong. They're on
Right.
lockdown.
we have
Eh, because
5
ang mga,
cases here in the barangay.
Which barangay?
oh,
Simon Ledesma, Haro.
Simon Ledesma,
Oh, okay.
that's in Harol, near Tabuk.
Hi guys, and welcome to Exhibition, Iloilo Prima Galaw's podcast featuring people, places, and events here in Iloilo City.
We envision Iloilo City teaming with artists who are given venue to discover and share their creative understanding of the world.
Every sacrifice, heartbreak, failure, triumph, betrayal, they were all worth it because they led me to where I am now.
Heard it all before. For every time we spoke of my dreams, never felt quite sure. Never wanna break before me. Oh, that's far and wide.
This is the last memory of my family. I have not been back home for over a decade. That will all change now.
In moments unseen, a vision your heart could only see. There's no reason, no rhyme. There's only that part of you yet to find. 'Cause life is what you make it. Anytime, anywhere, any place you go. Life is what you make it. Give it time, let it go, and just let your spirit.
I'm coming home after 13 years today. More than 13 years.
Be afraid of fall, but be afraid of never trying.
I am now ready to share my experiences and hopefully inspire other people not to give up on their dream. If it happened to me, it can happen to them too.
Time to answer the call, version of you that's meant to be. Throw away all the doubts. Remember that life gives you what you give out. 'Cause life is what you make it. Anytime, anywhere, any place you go. Life is what you make it. Give it time, let it go, let the spirit soar. Life is what you make it. Anytime, anywhere.
Whatever it is that you want to do, nothing is impossible as long as you set your mind to it.
Give it time, let it go, and just let the spirit soar.
Welcome to another episode of Exhibition, Iloilo Prima Galaw's podcast where we feature people, places, and events here in the city of Iloilo. We have a wonderful, wonderful guest for you today, and what we have is a one-time Grammy Award winner, three-time Tony Award-winning producer, and Pamana ng Filipino awardee. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome Iloilo's pride, Mr. Jhett Tolentino.
There. Hi.
Hello, Sir Jhett. Hello, how are
Hi.
you?
Good. Good morning from New York.
Well, good morning from the Philippines. I mean, good evening from the Philippines. It's 9 p.m. here. What time is it there in your end?
It's 9:14 a.m. Monday, August 10th.
Okay, that's nice. When was the
Yeah.
last time you were here in the Philippines?
I left Manila July 31st, so just 10 days ago.
Okay. Looks so how's the situation there in New York?
New York is much better now, being that I believe when I left New York March 16th, New York was peaking. And now that because we have a very good governor, so we flattened the curve, and now it's one of the safest states in the U.S. So
Well, I really hope this country can get there, the Philippines can get there.
I hope
But
so.
yeah, hopefully we will all get through this because we are such in a very weird time. I mean, back then everything was fast paced. We were doing things on the go, and right now everything just slowed down almost to a complete halt. But it's good to actually see you again. The last time I was able to see you was here in Iloilo in M Butterfly.
Yeah.
So I'm really wondering, as of this time, what's a big shot producer like you doing to unwind in an age where live performances are prohibited?
Well, let me go back a little bit on when I left New York March 16th, I was going to Cambodia
Mm-hmm.
for the film festival because Lingua Franca made it there. So it was only going to be originally in Manila for a 12-hour layover, right? So I arrived Manila 7 a.m. on March 17th, and my flight to Phnom Penh was March 17th, 9 p.m. So, well, 14-hour flight stopover because I always take Philippine Airlines. There's no direct flight from New York to Phnom Penh. So when I got there, I switched luggage in Makati, and then I was waiting. I was in communication with the film festival in Cambodia because they paid for everything. Everything was first five-star hotel accommodation and all that. At 4 o'clock, the king of Cambodia ordered the country to shut down. So I had no choice but to stay in Manila. So I was in Manila on my own for 137 days. So for the first 2 months, because everything was closed except for the grocery, so I was doing my own laundry manually for 2 months. My sister's condo is a studio, so there's really no place for me to hang the clothes. So I had them in the shower, in the bathroom. I posted a few of them on my Instagram and Facebook before. And so that was that. So, but I kept myself occupied because again, I can't go to Iloilo because the local flights were not allowed yet. So I developed a couple of routines. I get up in the morning, and I've also developed IF. I'm in intermittent fasting now,
So
which
how's
helps.
it been? How long has it been since you were doing IF?
I started late May, and since I've lost 5 pounds because
Wow,
again,
congratulations.
from March, April, and early of May, when you're in quarantine, there's nothing to do. I can't go out, walk around because it's very hot in Manila. Everything is concrete and it's all 90 degrees and higher. I can't do that. So I just stay in. It's between YouTube and Netflix, and I would circle around the apartment, the studio. Can you imagine it? It's a 22 square meter studio. I walk around while watching Netflix movie or for 2 hours until I reach my daily 10,000 steps. Because, that's what they say. As long as you have 10,000 steps a day, you don't have to go to the gym, which I don't. I don't like going to the gym. I've never been. And then, yeah, so that's my entertainment. I've also accepted a judiciary offer from the Broadway community. There was a contest for up and coming writers. So
Mm.
I read a lot of scripts, and I had to grade them. And then they actually just posted the winners at broadwayworld.com, broadway.com, I mean. And so, yeah, I was one of the judges in that contest, and it was so great to stay creative, because once you read the scripts, it allows you to imagine what if this is your production and what should be done. And also, I've read 2 books that I'm trying to adapt into a movie. Yeah, I think that's that. And aside from, otherwise, if my niece Jill would not call me on Messenger, FaceTime, I go for days. Like, I think my record was 4 days without saying a word. Yeah, because
But-
I was by myself.
Well, that's great because actually
Yeah.
most of the artists right now are on, well, technically artistic lockdown. Most of them,
Yeah.
most especially live performers, they're currently waiting for everything to become well. But as for you, you're still busy. You're still getting offers. And speaking of Broadway, most of us might never ever experience this, but we might vicariously live through you. So how does it feel winning a Tony?
Oh my God, that was like 100 years ago. Um, well, yeah, of course, winning my first Tony in 2013, that's something that will stay with me forever because, again, my circumstance coming from Kalumpang and all the way here. So it was always a pretty special moment. And then the following year, getting 2 more, and then a Grammy in 2017. So it comes with somehow, to me, I take it as a responsibility to represent us, to represent the minority story, mainly Filipino, where I'm coming from. And as the only Filipino producer on Broadway, again, I take it as a huge responsibility. I don't get high on the accolade because to me that's done. My work has been done. So to me it's always about where can I take our story next? What?
So you never rest on your laurels. It's just an ongoing
No.
mission to provide quality and to
Yeah,
provide
well,
prestige to the Filipino.
exactly. It's nice to get those hardwares. I call them hardwares because, but to me again, it comes with the responsibility on what I can do next, and I have to make sure that our representation is always heard and be considered. Yeah, but in terms of the theater, yes, unfortunately, our industry is probably got the worst impact of
We might
this
be
pandemic.
one of the last few things to actually open up when this is
I
all
think
over.
we are the last because putting, 1,000 people in like sardines packed in this very tiny seats on Broadway. That's just against all protocols of the COVID task
Social
force anywhere
distance.
in the world. Yeah, unfortunately, there's one country that has successfully opened. And Phantom of the Opera has been open in Seoul for 2 months now.
Korea.
And yes,
Yes.
because again, it boils down to the discipline of every citizen. Okay. Unfortunately, I'm not proud in saying Americans are high with democracy. When you tell them one thing, it's always they take it politically right away. So that's why United States in this chaos, because again, it's a huge country. But then you can also look at China. China is again the largest country in the world with 1.3 billion people. But now Philippines has more cases than China. All right. Again, so it boils down to
I guess I think we're
government.
number one in Southeast Asia just
We
2
are.
years ago.
Yeah.
Mhm. So let me jump off from that, Sir Jhett. Given the current trend of bringing musicals and bringing theater plays through the streaming service, what's your take on that? Because given my idea on theater, it's supposed to be live. So
Yeah.
how do you see that? Is that how we will proceed moving forward, or yeah? What's your opinion on that?
Well, this is not a known fact. for anyone. But on Broadway, we actually have recordings of every show. So all the archival footages or performances are stored at Lincoln Center. So they are the
I graduated
sort of
with
the approved
accounting degree at the
body
University of
to have the
Iloilo.
possession of these archives,
Ooh,
right? So there's one
okay.
specific performance of a
um,
certain show
Under a
that
scholarship
is
from
recorded
the Miguel Society from
multi-cameras,
Sophia
right?
University in Tokyo.
Some are just
So
one
that it by
Angle.
itself is a different story, which
angle from the audience, but
depicted in my
it's
short
it's announced
documentary, which I'll
also
show you later.
to the audience once
And in
that happens.
between, I worked
And
in Hong Kong
only theater
for
industry people can have
JP Capital
access to
Finance,
those
which was a
recordings.
Japanese
Okay,
firm
so
as
it's
an
not open to
internal
public.
auditor. And I also
It's not
worked
open
for
to
Insight
public because
Fashion
again,
in sales and
there's
marketing.
some
I had to do that. I
rights
had
that
6 jobs at the same time.
we have to
4
protect
were
from the
based in the Philippines
creatives to
and
the
2 in Hong
actors.
Kong.
You know, there's
Because
the
I was the
equity, the
youngest of
IATSE,
4. My
everything.
father
As
was a
you
jeepney
know,
driver and my
nobody
mom was a
can
beautician.
flick the
So when I
switch
was
of a
12 and
theater
graduated
if they don't belong
elementary,
to a
they told
union.
me,
Everything is
okay, you're gonna
unionized
have to
on
stop
Broadway.
school and let your
So,
older
having
siblings
said that,
finish so they can
again, we
pay for
never
the tuition.
anticipated that
And I
we will
don't
be
have
in
that
this
much money. Maybe I
situation,
have to
right?
wait for them.
So
But
those
if
footages can now
that
be
doesn't happen, and growing up
shared to
around drugs and
public
prostitution in the
online.
slums,
But
I
again,
thought I was gonna
they
find my own
whoever would want to
future.
put that should get all the
But
clearances and
my partner and I
rights
then made a
paid
down payment just
to
to hold
the
her back
owners
to
of
Globe.
the show,
Made a down
to the
payment
writers,
to Golden
directors,
Theater, and
designers,
in
artists.
three
So
months
there has to be, just
we
like with
opened a Broadway show.
Hamilton, right?
The
So they
show was
had to have this
transferred in
agreement on
history. And 3 months
how
later
it
in
should
June,
be
we won
played
the
out. Of
Tony.
course,
So that was the first.
it
And
could be shared, but
Hazel,
again,
Raisin
they
in the
have to
Sun, and
address
Gentleman's Sky
the
happened
rights and
both
licenses
in
on every
2014.
aspect from songs, also because
Apparently,
everything is covered from every design aspect of any show. So that's one. But to me, this is temporary. All right.
Going back here in the Philippines, what's the difference between your choices when back then, when you were producing plays there in the US and abroad as compared here to the Philippines? In the Philippines, are there demographics that you'd like to consider, certain criterias that may vary between the places?
Yeah, actually, I do. But mainly, if it's a new production, I always, just like I told you about I judged um, the screenwriting
Mhm.
competition. My first category is that the originality. I'd like to be able to, I'm connected to stories that I've never heard of or I've never thought of that it's possible. Because it's very rare that you will find originality in all these works. Again, we've been at this industry for over 100 years, so a lot of stories have been told. So it depends on how it's presented and if there's an originality in the structure of the story. That's one. Two is the commerciality of the project. Would I be able to sell it? You know, again, I'm a commercial producer. I just don't operate as a not-for-profit because I have to be fiscally responsible to my investors' money. I always think of that because I'd like to be able to do a repeat business, that I'd be able to go to them and say, hey, you know, we made money from this and that, and then here's my next project. So that's two. Three, I put on my critical hat, you know, as once critic then. I would think if there's any tour de force performance from one of the characters, because this type of performances can take the project all the way to the award season, you know. So again, while reading the script, you have to internalize and try to put yourself in this very strong character. If that would be you, what would it would look like, you know? So yeah, I consider that the critical part of it. How would the critics perceive it? Because again, critics would demand also for nominations. So those are the three. As to if I vary between projects that I produce in New York as to the Philippines, well, I've only done one in the Philippines, which was M.
And
Butterfly.
butterfly.
Yeah, and that it started when I saw M. Butterfly here in New York. I did not quite like the production, unfortunately. Um, and then R.S. Francisco, who did the original
And butterfly. Yeah.
and Butterfly in the 90s, I think
Mhm.
1990, 1991, by at UP Diliman, and then they limitedly toured it all over the Philippines. And he wanted to reprise his role, and he wanted to somewhat execute the things that he wanted personally in the show. So we talked about it, and I see, all right, I can see why this is happening. And also having seen the Broadway production, which I did not quite like, I said, all right, I want to
When
put
artists
in
ask me
also
if we
the,
can have him, I
I'd
said,
like to give
go for it.
justice
He's
to
a
this
professor at
great
Columbia
uh,
University, so it's very
play.
different. But
So,
I
and
think it's true.
I'm good friends with David Henry
Yes,
Huang, who
I
wrote
have to
it.
speak at his
So
festival in
Oh,
exchange.
great.
He's
I
been
I
asking me when
texted
can
him,
I
hey
have
David,
this.
I have
Yeah,
this, can we talk about
it's
it?
just like
So,
this
and
thing
we
also.
did.
So, but
And with the
that would
concept
be the
on
exchange. So
bringing,
he's
I
coming
had to
over,
seek
and to look
approval
at the
for,
magic
as
house.
you've seen it, I the our team with Kanakan as the director, we infused a live opera singer that intertwined in the storytelling. That's not in the script, by the way. So that's new. And also, it became a pop rock because we introduced leather and all that stuff. So when I invited
I
David to go
realized,
to
because I
Manila,
don't
so we
swim.
opened, and he actually
Well, I
saw
do,
three
pero alam niyo yung yamayakay,
performances,
ganun
and he
lang.
was left in awe because
Yung
again he told me,
mahalangan,
Jhett, I've
ganun.
seen
So,
my play
since I really
over
wanted
a
Jhett to
hundred
deliver,
versions of it. This
and
is the
nagulat
very
ako na
first
he
time
said
that I'm
yes,
so
tungkol sa
impressed
Filipino, was dun sa
because
Filipino
of,
culture
again,
nila.
there's live
He's
opera
for
singer that
doing
intertwined, and then the
an
leather,
exhibit
the rock. So
charity
it's
for M. Butterfly
because
Jr. outside
we
West
wanted to
Cardona.
connect with
So
a
when we met
new
there,
audience, right?
akala ko lang
Mhm.
So
talagang story
we
lang na
brought something
pakit-pakit. Gusto ko
fresh
lang humirit siya sa
to the
I want
production,
to see you
and
underwater.
again, having
Sino ba naman
won
para magsabing hindi?
the
Di ba?
Aleo in the
Sabi ko lang,
Philippines,
okay.
and then we took the show, as hard as it was, to Dumaguete, Iloilo, and Cebu. We stopped short. We were supposed to go to Davao and Baguio, and then do another closing tour in Manila.
How
But
was
because
the
it was
whole
election time,
experience? How was the whole experience staging it in your hometown? I believe it
oh
was your first time.
yes. Well, I brought the first Broadway star there in 2016. But that was a concert. But yes, production wise, and Butterfly was the first. And I felt that I was complete, to be honest with you, because I have been wanting to bring my work to my hometown. And I'm so glad that Iloilo City, we had the most sales. We beat Dumaguete and Cebu. So we had the best sales in the tour, which was surprisingly to me, because I thought it was Cebu who's going to bring in most revenue, because they're the queen of city of the south, and they're much bigger
But
in
you're
terms of
Ilonggo. But you're an Ilonggo.
demographics.
Well,
Well, yeah, that has something to do with it also. And and mind you, and you know it was actually not for it wasn't a family show, because there's nudity in the show, right?
it was really a
But
shock to the new theater goers who actually went in. Yeah.
yeah,
I was able to remember that we were in charge of telling people to not record it with their phones. And every time that specific scene comes up, we're very busy. That's the busiest part
yeah,
of the show for us. Like, ma'am, your
yeah.
phone. Sir, di ko gagamitin."
Yeah, exactly, because again, we have to protect the artists. If there's frontal nudity, nobody would want that anywhere on the internet. So it's, yeah, we had to protect that. And also we cannot violate the license from New York, that we cannot, again, those photos that are not approved by the mother company, we could not put it out. So yeah, and it was, again, to me, sort of a culmination of what I'm trying to represent as Ilonggos in the global scene. And it was a very happy time for me, having rounded up the Iloilo tour with 7 performances. So I did not want it to end, but
Well,
everything ends.
in behalf of the group, thank you very much for the opportunity, for allowing us to help you out
Mm.
in that certain show, it was actually education for us. We actually get to see how professional actors do it,
Yeah.
and the works basically. So
Yeah.
it was really a wonderful experience on our part. Is there any, maybe a Filipino play that you will produce in the future? Are you planning to do that, or?
Yeah, actually, I went to Virgin Love Fest last year.
Mm.
There was one particular play that again completely shocked me and shattered my inner core, and I can't wait. I'm exploring and transferring it to New York.
What's the name of the play, if you
I
don't?
can't tell you because I don't want to jinx anything. The other one is a musical that also I cannot believe was written by a Filipino, because when I was reading the script and was listening to the cast recording, it's so New York, and I'm so thrilled. And yes, it's gonna be a long way. Hamilton took 7 years to make it to Broadway, just so you know. So yeah, I'm going to try these two particular one original play and one original musical that I witnessed last year in the Philippines, and I'd like to bring it here. Again, there's multiple layer to encounter that, because again, that's number one. There's union that I have to go through, but it could be done just slowly.
I
Okay.
lost you there at it was multifaceted, and that
Yeah.
you were not able to do mechanical. Yeah.
Yeah. Or industrial producer. Industrial producer means that you own a certain theater, and that's your contribution. So I don't own a theater, so I've never worn a hat as an industrial producer. And but executive producer usually manages the project. Co-producer is the one who gives the money and just wait for for the team to work at it. So again, I've worn multiple hats. I've functioned as one of executive producers from casting to hiring the designers, the people and the crew and all that, the production people. I've done those. I enjoy the audition phase. It's usually, it's a terrible thing to say, but somehow a few of them becomes a cattle call. Can you imagine, from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. lots of people are lined up at the door and trying to audition. So, but it happens. There was one a member of a popular boy band that auditioned in one of my. I was like, oh my god, I cannot believe this. I grew up with this guy singing in a group, right? It's like major, and I was trying to contain
But
myself.
you can't tell us the name, right?
No, because again, we have NDAs for all these things. We have to protect. Like, of course, especially he didn't get the part, unfortunately. Yikes, he did not get the part. But I think, because at that time I think I did work with Ricky Martin for Evita, and I know other Oscar winners like Estelle Parsons, Richard, Denzel Washington, Forrest Whitaker. But having someone come in, as we already know him as a pop superstar from this boy band, and comes to audition for a role, he was shortlisted, because I was trying to rally around him so that his fan base could come. But unfortunately, I was voted out by other producers. There were three of us who were voting, so I was the only one who voted for him. But anyways, moving on, he did not get the part. So yeah, that's that. In terms of what I can advise to creative people out there, I can only speak from my experience. Again, we never anticipated that we will be going through this phase in life, in our lifetime. I mean, this has never happened before. This is even worse than the Spanish flu 100 years ago, because back then they didn't have any technology. Yeah, a lot of people died, but now we have all the technologies that we could think of, and yet we're not handling it well, generally speaking. again, it boils down to everyone's discipline. Personally, I have a lot of projects. I am now developing 28 projects currently across mostly films, uh, feature films, movies for television, TV series, musicals, plays. I have those in the pipeline, so I'm developing them. It's tragic that everything was halted because of this. But then again, as my film says, life is what you make it. You have a choice whether you want to pick up the depression stage and be in the corner and mope about it. No, I try to stay creative by again reading scripts or reading books and reaching out to other people who have the same artistic mind as me. Just I call them as my tribe. So you should have a tribe to be able to speak honestly about what you're going through, not just a face or a front that you're doing well, because nobody's doing well. Nobody's doing well.
You have to at least be honest to yourself, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that's one thing. It's unfortunate that again, I believe our industry will be the last one to open unless this vaccine is happening, which to me, I stay optimistic because again, the processes of the pharmaceutical industry, Moderna, Pfizer, they're very promising that they're very confident that the vaccine will be out before the year is over. Again, everyone is rallying around this because it's not just us, it's the global economy, okay? It's a global economy and people cannot stay at this phase. So we gotta have the vaccine. It's coming soon. Our only goal and purpose is to stay alive, all right? We'll just stay alive. Forget about the deaths, everything is mounting up. But money can be found as long as we're alive. As long as you're alive, there's hope. Do not be afraid of reinventing yourself. I know a lot of people in the industry are, making something else like cooking or baking or anything for order, taking orders to do something else, making face masks or anything that you could make a living out of. And you don't really have to stress out explaining to people why you're doing these things because everybody knows and everybody's supportive on what we're going through. So just stay alive and stay strong. We'll get through this.
Actually taught me a lot about being an artist, and you, on the other hand, if a person like you can maintain the level of integrity and the level of quality,
May we start
even
with
up
the Filipino
at the height
project
of
that
your
you're gonna put
success,
on
then I
Broadway.
guess
And of
us
course, you're
who are
filming
just
about
starting
yourself.
and us who
We're
are
so
just
excited
learning,
about that.
we have
Please
to maintain
introduce
the same
yourself
as
and tell
well.
us about this
So anything you
beautiful
would like to
project
say
that
to
you're
Ilonggo?
working on. Hi guys.
I think I have not
I'm Jhett
answered
Tolentino.
your one. While you were saying
next
that, I
project
remember that
is,
the messenger
about
of the things that I
short
do.
documentary film
So
that
I
made,
particularly
wrote,
do
produced, and
projects
direct.
that
We went to 9
are not
countries
simple,
altogether. We're gonna
things
put it in
that
a very short
most
doc.
producers are afraid of doing. The
Well, not
risque
once, but
part of it.
twice, thrice.
Again, I
Let's
don't
just be
do
very
vanilla
specific about it. You
shows. I
won
don't,
a
and
Tony
my
for
messaging from here
Vanya and
on
Sonia, and
is again on our representation. I advocate for our voices to be heard, and that it's our time. I love where United States is where at right now because the
So as you can see, it's a
diversity
disco
and
musical.
the minority stories are promoted. So we are actually in a very unique position to tackle it. And again, not uncompromising at all. We have to stick to our story and to the truth because truth will set us free.
There you go. So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been a wonderful, wonderful night for me. I hope it's the same for Sir Jhett over there. It's around 10 a.m. there in
Yeah.
New York. And thank you very much for giving us this opportunity to be able to talk to you, sir. Thank you very much for allowing us to interview you. I know you're a very busy person, and I know in a while you will be starting those steps again. Yeah.
Yes, I will. I actually usually get up at 7 and walk around but I delayed it because of this. So yeah, I can walk around a little bit. Yeah.
So, Sir Jhett, how can the people who want to reach you? Because, well, Facebook is out of the picture for now. So,
Yeah.
how about Twitter and Instagram? How do they find you? How do they get information from you?
Yeah, you can look me up on Instagram, Jhett. Be careful of the spelling. It's JHETT_Tolentino. That's my personal account. My professional account is Jhett Tolentino without the underscore. I also have my production company, JTP LLC, which is Jhett Tolentino Productions LLC. It's right there. All my productions are there on Instagram. And Twitter, it's just my name, Jhett Tolentino. Yeah, you can reach me there. You can do a shout out.
So, hopefully, sir, I get to see you again here in Iloilo. Any plans of making that travel? Not until the vaccine comes out, I guess.
Yeah, I'm so excited. Again, when I was there, I was trying to find the Asian Jeff bases actually to bankroll the 28 projects that I have. And I've pitched to one particular group that I'm very confident with. Yeah, Mike, is right now I'm gearing up to shoot a feature film with Sharon Cuneta, Tony Labrusca, and Jody Santa Maria in New York next year, early next year, when we have the vaccine, of course. And then, of course, Here Lies Love to be on Broadway also next year. So yeah, so those are the two things that are
Currently
pressing to me
You're currently working.
right now. Yeah. Well, I have 4 films next year, but those are the very first 2 projects that I'm gonna be doing.
Oh, looking forward to it. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. You know where to reach Sir Jhett. And as for us, this has been another episode of Exhibition, where we feature people, places, and events here in the city of Iloilo. So if you haven't, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the buttons below. You can reach us for your comments and suggestions at Iloilo Prima Galaw official, #exhibition, #shineon. So guys, you see you around. Sir Jhett, thank you very much for the opportunity once again. You stay safe and stay healthy. And I hope to see you again soon. Goodbye.
Kamuman, I hope I can be there soon. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Halonggid, halonggid.
Along.